Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my Star Wars reviews leading up to episode 9 this December. We now get to the first and only time so far where my opinion has drastically changed over a Star Wars movie. Back in December of 2016, I saw Rogue One: A Star Wars Story opening night, and I immediately came home after seeing it and did my review that night. As soon as I got home, I turned on my camera and I did my review. Now, if you remember that review, I basically said it's a really great Star Wars movie. I had a total blast with it. Not better than The Force Awakens, but still a really great and fun Star Wars movie. But after I left the theater, I noticed something. After I saw The Force Awakens, I was so excited. I had such a great experience. I wanted to run back, buy a ticket, and see it again that night. With Rogue One, after I left the theater, I was like, okay, that was good. Now I can go home, I guess. I was a little bit underwhelmed, and I kind of ignored that because of the high of Star Wars that was taking place in 2015 and 2016. So I saw the movie 2 more times in theaters, and my opinion didn't really change all that much. I was still a little bit underwhelmed, but I just kind of pushed that aside because it's a Star Wars movie, you know? It's gotta be better than the prequels, right? So I thought to myself, okay, 3 times in theaters is enough. Maybe I should wait until the movie comes out on Blu-ray, watch it again, let it sink in a little bit more, and then we'll see how I feel at that point. So I bought the movie on Blu-ray the day it came out, and I have this tradition where I always watch these new movies the day it comes out in theaters and the day it comes out on Blu-ray. And I watched it that night when it came out, and I felt a little bit less about the movie. I still enjoyed it. I kept telling myself I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it a little bit less than I saw in theaters. But I never really watched the movie on Blu-ray besides that first night I bought it. Then I ended up rewatching the movie back when I had a Star Wars viewing before The Last Jedi came out, and I didn't say anything to anyone, but I said to myself, wow, what the hell happened? That's not as good as I remember it being. And then I watched it again before I saw Solo, and now the movie has finally settled in, and I can safely say I don't like this movie that much. Now, I know Star Wars fans are going to be all over saying, how can you not like this movie? It's so great because there's so many people that love this movie. Before I go on, if you love this movie, that's fine. Don't let my opinion affect your enjoyment of this movie. Film is subjective. You're allowed to like a movie that some people might not like. I'm just here to give a re-review on why my opinion has changed so much for this movie. And now I don't see this as the great movie everyone else does, and why I think it's kind of a bad flick. In my original review, I did mention that the characters were a little bit underdeveloped. And now I can say that I really don't like these characters. I only like 2 characters. Of course, I like K2SO, he's hilarious. But I really like Chirrut, the blind monk, I believe that's how you say his name. Those are the only characters I like. Besides that, everyone else is still underdeveloped, but they have such a blandness to their characters that I can't believe I gave it a pass when I first saw it. The character of Jyn Erso, she's supposed to be the main character, and in the trailer we got to see maybe she had some flashbacks to see how she became this warrior type woman. But in the movie, we don't get to see any of that. We start off the movie with her as a little girl. There might be some spoilers in this review too, fair warning. But then we see her mom dying, her dad getting taken away by the Empire, and Lawrence Fishburne's character finds her. We cut to the opening title, and then we jump ahead to her now. It's like, what the hell happened? It's like starting off Batman Begins, where after he fell through that pit of bats, we cut to the title Batman Begins, and then we automatically see him as Batman kicking ass. Would that be as epic as it was if we saw the whole thing? No, it'd be bland. It'd be we would say to ourselves, we want more. And that's the biggest thing I could say about Jyn Erso's character. I wanted to see more. And I really don't like Cassian in this movie. He's portrayed when we first see him as kind of this hard ass, I guess you could say, which isn't a bad thing. But the fact that they don't do anything with that, we see him kill one of his friends in the beginning because he has a broken arm and he can't climb up this wall to escape, so Cassian shoots him. Okay, that's a neat setup for someone who could possibly betray the rebellion and betray Jyn and all that, but they don't do that. They try to make it seem like he's has that mindset of betrayal, but then towards the middle and end of the movie, he decides to give that all up. They try to do that, but the execution is so terrible that I don't even know why they decided to do that in the first place, if they were just going to completely ignore it. Like, there's this really great moment where he's about to kill Jyn's father, and he doesn't. And that moment would have been so much better if they would have dived deeper into a possible betrayal or like more damaged type character. The only characterization we get from Cassian was him saying, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old." That's it? Well, what happened during that time period? The characterization for all of these characters are completely weak and terrible. Now, I did say I liked the blind monk in this movie. He's probably the most interesting character out of all these. You know, he's in tune with the Force, but he's not really a Jedi. He doesn't have a lightsaber. He's more spiritual than the other Force users. And his sidekick, the only thing I know about him is that he's his sidekick. I don't even remember his name. Now, after people saw this movie, the number one thing that people were saying is that the effects and action scenes were fantastic. And that's true, they are. But come on, this is Disney. They have so much money where they can afford to make great action scenes, and the CGI looks tremendously flawless. I mean, look at Infinity War. And that is a big positive I can give of this movie. Despite all my flaws I have with it now, the action stuff is pretty good. The CGI is well done, and it is a well-filmed movie. But besides that, this movie looks so bleak and bland. If everyone complained that Solo looked very bleak and bland, and it kind of does, but Rogue One excels in that. It's building up this dirty, muddy, gray world. And now you can argue that, well, it's building up to the original trilogy, where things were very bleak in terms of like, not really tone, but in terms of how the setting was. True, but the original trilogy still had bright colors and likable characters, and it didn't look so gray. It actually looked kind of peaceful in a sense. I don't know why they made this look so gray and muddy and kind of depressing, really. We also jump ahead to multiple planets in the first, like, hour and a half of this movie. Well, okay, no, the first hour of this movie, I'd say. And it's kind of distracting. You know, something cool's about to happen on one planet, and then we jump ahead to another planet, and then we jump ahead to another planet. And it didn't blend all the way through editing-wise. I know this movie was heavily rewritten, reshot multiple times, and that's a big problem on Disney's hands. But it didn't help out the movie overall. It made it seem kind of incohesive, and the editing of that is pretty terrible. Now, the last 20 to 25 minutes of this movie is really great. It's a really exciting battle taking place on this beach island. And that's probably my favorite part of the movie, but it's kind of a problem because the two acts preceding it were so slow and bland and kind of mediocre, with terrible characters, terrible worlds in terms of how they look, in my opinion at least, that by the time, when the last time I watched it, by the time it got to the battle, I didn't really care all that much. It was just kind of like I was just watching it because this is my favorite part of the movie. It is the saving grace of the movie because it is exciting. But when I really, really think about it, I don't care all that much because I don't like the characters. I don't like how the movie preceding it ended up. And it's kind of weird that that's a positive, yet it's still an issue. And yes, I will talk about the Darth Vader scene, because Darth Vader is in this movie for like barely 5 minutes, not even that. But I will talk about his scene at the end of the movie. There's going to be spoilers in this scene, so if you haven't seen Rogue One, skip this part or go check out the movie really quick and then come back. So, towards the end of the movie, all the characters die. All our characters die. And by the way, everyone was saying, oh, it's so sad that the characters died at the end. Really? Because I didn't care. I kind of knew they were going to die, and I didn't care about their characters, so how was it sad? I didn't see it as sad, at least. But anyway, all the characters die. Okay, who cares? So then, after they send up the plans to the Rebel ships, they downloaded it onto that square little disc that Princess Leia puts in R2-D2, and the Rebels are running to aboard the ship, and the door gets stuck, and then the lights turn off, we see Darth Vader, we hear him breathing, we see a red lightsaber ignite, and the Rebels are shooting at him. He's mowing down these Rebels, he's force choking them, he's slaughtering them, he's throwing them up in the ceiling, he's stabbing them. It's awesome. People praise this scene, and yes, it is a good scene, and people say, oh my gosh, this scene alone makes the movie great. How? It's a 30-second scene. For me, a 30-second scene doesn't make up for a 2-hour movie of crap. It's by no doubt one of, if not the best Darth Vader scene we've gotten in the Star Wars universe. But come on, it's only 30 seconds long. It is entertaining, it's great to watch, but why is this scene worth the whole entire movie? I've seen so many people, oh come on, you don't like this movie? Just the Darth Vader scene alone. Okay, that's 30 seconds. What about the 2 hours that we were supposed to care about? I don't get it. It's a great scene, and it surprised me seeing it in theaters, and it was a crowd-pleasing moment, but I don't get how this scene makes the whole entire movie great. And really quick before I finish, I want to talk about the CGI face characters. One of them is Grand Moff Tarkin, and the other is Princess Leia at the very end of the movie. Grand Moff Tarkin looks absolutely terrible. He looks like someone just took a paint, like it looks like someone made a good CGI image, but then accidentally bumped the editing software or bumped the mouse for the computer, and it messed everything up, and they accidentally sent it in. He looks a little bit better as the film goes on, but you could still tell that's not a real image. It looks fake. It honestly looks fake. It looks a little bit better than we first see him, but it's still fake. And Princess Leia looks even worse. Even though she's on the screen for like a couple seconds, you can still tell that's not a real person. It looks like a painted image. That's the best way I can say it. It doesn't look like a real person. It looks like a painted image. And she says one line, hope, which was taken right from A New Hope and edited into this movie. It's really bad. It's honestly kind of a cheap way to tie in to tie into episode 4. I get what they were going for. It was just terrible execution for me. So yeah, this was a drastic change. I don't like Rogue One all that much anymore. It has some entertaining moments. The last 20 minutes of the movie is my favorite part of the movie. It's kind of the saving grace for me to watch this movie again. The Darth Vader scene is great, but there's just so much in this movie that I absolutely do not like. I hate almost all the characters. I only like 2 of the characters. The other characters I either just don't care for or I absolutely hate them. The first 2 acts are so choppy and terribly edited, and the film looks so bleak and boring. I get it's supposed to be a depressing world, but if you're leading into A New Hope, why wasn't A New Hope all bleak and depressing? It looked bright and colorful. It didn't feel like it was in the same movie, if you ask me. It's supposed to be, but it didn't for me. So my original grade for this movie was an 8.5 out of 10. I was doing that type of grading back then, but I have a new grading system now, and with that grading system, Rogue One is a major letdown. My opinion has changed so much over this movie. It's fine if you like this movie. I know people praise this movie, but I'm not here to lie and to get aboard the Rogue One love train or the Star Wars hate train, whatever it is. I'm here to give my honest opinion, and I would honestly watch Revenge of the Sith or Solo easily over this movie. The only time I would watch this movie is if I'm having a Star Wars marathon, and that's not that much anymore. So I can't really see myself watching this movie, and I can't really recommend this movie unless you're a hardcore Star Wars fan. If you're a casual Star Wars fan, you can easily skip this movie. You're not really going to be missing much. So yeah, I'm probably going to get some hate for this review too because of all the supporters, but nevertheless, what are your guys' thoughts on Rogue One? Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. Where does it rank in your Star Wars ranking? Let me know everything in the comment section, and again, like always, let's be adults about this, okay? And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here, and I'll see you guys next time.